This is the A Game Austin Jordan, and you're watching Hashtag Truth with my good friend, Scott Larson.
Cause we're always looking out for you. Always looking out for you. Always looking out for you. Always looking out for you.
Introducing Superjaws Indie Supercard, the first pro wrestling trading card game with real wrestlers using their real moves, but not real weapons, because they're cards. Play with over 50 wrestlers such as George South, C.W. Anderson, the Jim Nasty Boys, the Dawson Brothers, Colby Carino, and many, many more. Go to becometheace.com/store to order the Ace Series 1 set, shipping in June 2020.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Hashtag Truth. First, right off the bat, I want to apologize to Scratch Kory Savior for having difficulties yesterday. We couldn't get this video on yesterday. We couldn't get this interview done yesterday, but we are back today, live and in person. How you doing, Kory?
I'm doing pretty well. You know, living life in this South Georgia heat, trying to make it through.
Right? I know how that is, man. This heat is unbearable. We were talking before the show, man. There's thunderstorms coming through South Carolina where I'm at, and it's crazy, that heat. And here goes my kitty cats. You guys are going to see this all night long. My kitty cats are going to climb the walls, so you have to excuse me. My kitty cats want to be superstars. Just saying.
Ain't nothing wrong with it. You know, there's been some pretty good cat superstars.
Without a doubt. Thomas Scott said hello. How you doing, Thomas Scott? Welcome to the show, man. So let's start this thing out. We got some people coming in here. Let's start this thing out the way I always start out every show, man. Tell us, how long have you been in the wrestling business?
A little bit over 2 years now. You know, got my start out here in South Georgia, near the Coastal Empire area. Did a lot of training with my tag team partner. A lot of back and forth. You know, it was a feud tag, and now we kind of know each other like the back of our hands. Good old Voodoo Jack, Savannah's favorite luchador, as I call him.
Yes, and I have their cards in the Indie Supercard game. I love it.
Yes, sir.
I'm always going to put that out there, guys. The Supercard game is just awesome, and these guys are a part of it. There he goes again. Look, there she goes. Look. But anyway, yeah, so you've been in the business for 2 years. So tell me how it felt when the first time you went through the curtain, man. How was it? Butterflies? Was you ready to go?
A little bit of butterflies, but I was ready for it. You know, that initial first boom kind of clicks and it sticks with you. You know,
right?
And
do you remember who you wrestled?
Sir?
Do you remember who you wrestled?
It was actually a fella named Big Country out here in Statesboro, and another fella named Georgia Southern's defensive football coach, Vic Cabral.
Okay. Wow, nice.
And he's every bit a hoss. I'll go ahead and say that now. Vic Cabral, he's about 6'3", 6'4". Used to play defensive end, and he
probably built like a brick house, right?
About the same as he would in college.
That ain't something to mess with right there. So how did it turn out, man? How did you win or lose? Just curious.
I lost that one, but you know, it's that rookie luck. You know, just starting out.
I got you without
kind of trying to find my groove.
Right? Hey. You got to learn. You learn more from losing. I've heard that from a lot of great wrestlers out there. So,
yes,
if I had to ask you, what is the biggest thing you learned from that first loss?
Be aggressive. Don't be defensive. Be aggressive. You know, if you stay on the offensive, as long as you don't overshoot, you're 9 times out of 10 going to pick up that W. But
right,
you know, it was still a little skittish, But after that, it clicked. Something just clicked and kept going. And it's definitely a rush.
Right. I'm sorry. I gotta laugh. I can't turn around and grab these cats, but they're jumping all up and down on this wall. It's horrible, man.
Doing a little parkour.
No Game podcast. They're doing parkour back there. Yeah, definitely. Says, hey guys, how you doing? How you doing, Jordan? Welcome to
Jordan.
Hashtag, man. If you guys have any questions for Scratch Kory Savior, please ask them. I will be putting them up on the screen as you ask them as we go throughout the interview here. So tell me, what area do you wrestle in?
Well, normally it's the Royston, Macon area, Augusta, little North Georgia, more or less. Got some ties out there. And me and my tag team partner have decided to start our own little promotion out in the great city of Savannah, Coastal Empire Wrestling. There's not a whole lot to do out there for folks.
Right.
You know, they bar hop and watch live bands, but wrestling's something different. And that's the kind of spark we want to get back to the city.
Right. So you guys are going to be like one. Are you guys going to be the first ever promotion in that area right there?
Yes, sir. As far as I know, you know, the bigger companies will slide through every once in a while, do a house show, something like that. Right. But I do believe we will be the first consistent show out in the Savannah Coastal Empire area.
So are you guys all set up and ready to go and just waiting for COVID to break or
more or less? You know, we sat down, kind of worked out our roster, and it's a lot of talent who's never met each other before. So I mean, that's going to be a lot of
so it's going to be all new feuds, all new people coming together. Everything's fresh from the start, right?
Oh yes, sir. And it's folks we've worked with in the past. You know, name a couple names: Bryce Cannon from good old Augusta. I do believe you are Atlanta. You might have his card. He's in the GIPW pack.
Yep.
A couple of cats out of Arkansas. Pretty boy Matt Odom. He's every bit as stocky as all get out, and a very good young up and comer who I started out with, young David Connors. Okay. And he reminds me a lot of Randy Savage, but about 100 pounds lighter.
Wow. That's kind of big words for somebody. How long has he been in the business to get that kind of I mean, Randy Savage was one of the best.
He's closing out on 4 years, but he's modeled himself a lot after Fred Yehi and Randy Savage, among others, and I do believe he's got the prettiest elbow drop I've seen so far, at least in person.
I'm gonna have to look him up. What was the name again?
Young David Connors.
Young David Connors. You know,
I have to send you his contact info. He's not
that
super up on
hashtag.
Sir?
I said, sure, do that, because I would love to have him on hashtag. If you say he has the sweetest elbow in the business, I want to see a video.
I'll see if I can't find one, because it's pretty as all get out.
Definitely, without a doubt, man, without a doubt. So you said you had a tag team partner, and you guys have been tagging for a while. Have you reached tag team gold yet?
Not just yet. Hopefully, here shortly we will. We officially started tagging about last August, and it's clicked ever since then. You know, we've faced each other in numerous matches, hardcore matches, you know, pretty much anything you could think of, and it just kind of made sense. I know you know me, and we're a pretty good mix of styles. He was trained out in El Paso.
Yeah, so you guys
he's got a pretty heavy lucha base.
Yeah,
and I'm more of I'd say I'm a weird mix of Randy Orton and Chris Benoit.
Ooh, that's pretty interesting. So you're more of a technical wrestler then?
Well, I'm learning a lot more lucha technical things from him.
Okay.
because that is a very big difference from Greco-Roman, kind of
Right.
technical to lucha technical. First time I had a match with a luchador, it threw me for every bit of a loop.
Oh, they are very athletic. Use the ropes a lot from what I've seen. I mean, I'm just a fan, but from what I've seen of luchadors, man, they can move. They can move,
Oh yes, sir.
and they
And
definitely know the ring.
it made sense. He and I, we were talking for a long time, and we finally said, you know what, we're gonna make our own thing out here in Savannah. Kind of include the city with it too, and Coastal Empire, and we've got a pretty stacked roster so far. A lot of guys from Superjaw are on that roster, and
So a lot of people from Ace have come down to be part of the team.
yes, sir. Which I spoke with a gentleman the other night, and there's a potential next interview in the next week or so that I'm very interested in. Reach out to him,
man.
one of Mr. Cross subject.
Oh,
Been looking at his stuff, and he's pretty stout, especially for a younger looking fella. He's fairly stout.
that's pretty cool, man. So when do you think we'll see some wrestling from your new wrestling company?
Well,
Yeah. Are you looking for a set date, or are you, like I said, you're just waiting this the whole COVID thing out? Because from what I'm hearing, man, this thing might last for another 6-8 months. I mean,
tentatively August,
okay,
but we'll know more in the coming week.
okay,
But we're gonna do everything we can. Try to get some guys together, whether it's empty arena, however we got to do it. Just kind of start it off, kick
Without a
it off,
doubt,
kick it off
without a
right,
doubt.
kick it off proper.
So where are you guys going to be located? Do you have an address of a building? Are you guys going to be are you going to be moving around, or are you going to be at one solid location?
Kind of moving around at first, kind of get a feel for the city, where is going to work best for us. There's because Savannah's a fairly big city. Is it
Right.
Are we going to stay near the downtown area where a lot of the tourist traffic's at, or kind of the beachy area with Tybee? Everybody would love a good beach show to go down, but we're going to kind of move around a little bit, see what works well for us. Kind of click from there. If we can find a set location, we'll stick there for a little while.
Sounds good, man. So I guess it would be a good question if you're starting off a new wrestling organization. What belts are you going to start off with?
We're going to start with
the belts.
Well, the Coastal Empire Championship, which we're in this day and age, you can't really put a weight limit on a title, because there's amazing athletes all the way around. Doesn't matter what weight class. You could be a super heavyweight, and there could be a bantamweight or a featherweight somebody.
Right.
Might come out on top. So we figured, all right, we're going to rock and roll with the Coastal Empire Championship. Another title is going to be our first big backer, Hellfire Radio. They're going to sponsor a Hellfire Hardcore sort of title, where the fans are going to decide how the title is defended and everything else. And we're going to start off with a solid set of tag titles. Got a
so the fans get to pick what kind of match? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir. It'll be throughout the week. We'll kind of release, all right, say this week it'll be defended in either a ladder match, Falls Count Anywhere match, a hardcore match, something.
Okay.
And that'll and it'll boost fan interest also. If it feels better if you've got a stake in what's going to happen.
So are you going to do that like on your website or something, or a Facebook page where you have a poll or
Yes, sir.
something?
On the Facebook page, on the Instagram, we're gonna kind of tally it up throughout the week and see what we can't get done and everything else.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I love anything that involves the fans, man. I'm all about the fans. Everybody knows that. So
Oh yes, sir.
that is totally awesome that not only you have somebody who will sponsor you, but you have somebody who is cool enough to say, hey, we want a title, in our name, and we're going to put the fans at the forefront of the title. So that's really cool for me, man. I appreciate you guys doing stuff like that.
Yes, sir. Which I know the idea more or less came back from the Taboo Tuesdays and the Cyber Sundays when fans did have a stake in what's going to happen, and you would notice the attendance rates and everything else would kind of shoot up for those sorts of shows, views and everything else, and people would pay more attention. And
because the thing at the bottom, give me something to invest in. You're giving them something to invest in, sir. That's exactly what it comes down to. If you give if the fans feel like they're part of the show, they will keep coming. That is one thing and I'll say that as a fan. If you do that for me, if you show me that, hey, I want to involve you, if you vote and your match will eventually get there, even if you don't vote the right match this week, you have another chance the next week. I'm going to keep voting, even, and if I get my match, the match that I want, I'm still going to come back because I want to be like, hey, they listened. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Either way, it's a win-win.
And I mean, who's to say you might like the match stipulation that week, but there might be one the next week you say, oh, well, it's a little bit better. I'm gonna see if I can't get folks to kind of come and vote for this one. I want to see this.
That's what I was about to say. If I want a cage match and the first week a kendo stick match gets voted in, I might go grab a friend up and say, hey, you like wrestling? Come over here to this website and vote this match in, and we'll go to see a cage match if it comes up. Things like that. Get everybody involved, man. And that's it. That's what I'm talking about. Get fans invested, and they will come. I love that. I love that idea. I love that you, again, the whole package. The sponsor's going to be there. You guys are agreeing with it. It's going to have a belt with their name on it. That's the total package right there. I love that, man. That's making. I might come to Atlanta. Listen to me. I might come down there by Savannah, Georgia, and watch you guys wrestle. That's awesome.
If so, we'll definitely show you the sights. It's a beautiful city, without a doubt.
Oh yeah,
you got the riverfront.
I'm a huge
lot of history in the city.
Yeah, I'm a huge ghost guy, so I know Savannah is very haunted. So I want to come down there just for that reason, to be honest with you.
Oh yes, sir. Which we're potentially going to be partnering up with a haunt out in the Chatham County area, which I think might lead to a few interesting match types.
Oh, great. See, that's awesome right there. So you said you got your championship match. You're going to have this hardcore match or hardcore belt. I'm pretty sure you're going to have a tag team title, right?
Yes,
tag team title?
Yes, sir. A tag team title, and we're working on a women's division.
That's usually the hardest one. Why is that? Explain that. Explain that to me. Why is it always the hardest thing to do is get a women's division together?
Well, I've noticed a lot of women talent stick around the Florida areas or the Californias. I know I've been in contact with, probably a good 10 or so female wrestlers, but we've got some potentials. Lexi Gomez out of Florida. Spoke with her.
Great.
She's a high possibility, and she's running rampant on the indies. I want to say she's got about 9 titles right now.
Wow.
And I'm fairly certain she would want to add another one to her collection.
Wow. That's amazing. What do you think the reason why they stick around California and Florida is because a lot of the trainings for some of these companies are based out of Florida, like WWE has their training down in Florida, things like they want to be noticed quicker?
Yes, sir. I think that's a good part of the reason. And with like AEW, they've got, trainings in Jacksonville at this point. I know they use one fall up in Atlanta, but which is another reason why we said, all right, well, Savannah's our maybe hour and a half tops drive from Jacksonville. Might as well go sit in their backyard and see if they want to come and talk with us.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that as long as they want to come up and put the time in and get paid. You know what I'm saying? That's awesome right there. I mean, that's how you get a start, and being right outside of Savannah's not really a small town by any means. So it's not like they're, going out to the backwoods or something to a small, community or something where they're not going to be seen. Savannah, you should be able to pull a pretty good crowd out of the area of Savannah.
Oh yes, sir. And I know that city is still steady growing. The ports are still a big deal out there. St. Patrick's Day, I do believe, is the second biggest to Ireland in the world.
Wow.
In Savannah. I know
I know it's a history-rich city because it was one of our first cities in America. I mean, in 13 colonies, Savannah was really huge. I mean, so there's a long history. But the question for me is there a long wrestling history in Savannah?
Not that I'm aware of. Maybe early territory days when it was, all right, we're going to run with a carnival and we're going to pass through town and everything else. But as far as I know, I haven't really seen any sort of Savannah-based wrestling history.
Right.
Promotions will breeze through and come in and come out and come in and come out. But we're planning on being centrally located in the city of Savannah. And it's
that is totally awesome, man. And you could probably lure some pretty big names down. I'm not saying that, you want to have a bunch of big names on your roster, but you every once in a while, I mean, you might get a WWE guy or some ex WWE star or whatever to come in and lace their boots up for a match. Because Savannah, like you said, man, Savannah's a pretty city, man. They got nice hotels, they got everything that could set up a guy, so being there, that you got that luster too, because like I said, Savannah's a great city, and wrestlers would love to come in and spend the time there. Of course, if you're paying them, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Which we've got our eyes on a few set of folks, especially out of the Florida area. There's a tag team I've got some history with, the Rapture, and I'm kind of itching to have another one with them. They both of them, I've seen them on NXT a little bit. I want to say one of them actually reffed one of Liger's last matches out
right
here. And definitely wanting to get another crack at him. It's been about, I'd say probably close to about a year and a half since I've last had a chance to work with him, and I'm tickled at the thought of it.
Okay. So you said you got a show coming up in August. Let me ask you now, I don't want you to reveal it, but do you have a name for your first show all set up and ready to go?
Not just yet. It's the venue's still tentative. It'll be at the Savannah Collecticon. It's a good first start. You've already got a pile of people there, and the minute we get the ink to dry on the agreement, we'll have a fairly solid name for it.
Okay, there you go.
I know I'm usually meeting with my tag team partner.
My next question being that I am all about, social media and stuff like that. Of course, I do a podcast. If you sell enough tickets, are you going to think about maybe having your own internet site where people can watch the matches, or maybe put it on Facebook or what have you?
Yes, sir. We're going to put them on. We're going to put them on Facebook. We're also going to have a YouTube page. I've talked with a lot of other owners and everything else, and it pays off. Once you get a good groove going, it starts paying off in dividends. And
yeah, even if you put the matches after it's all over, even if you put the individual matches on YouTube, and put them under your website on, because it's your show, and put the title and the name of the wrestlers, people are going to look at that and go, wow, if you got that kind of talent there, I've done it. I've done it as a fan. I've looked on YouTube and went, man, look at this, recent, before COVID started, but I've actually went to a show where I saw like three matches on YouTube, and I was like, wow, this is great. I want to go to this.
Yeah.
And there I went. So yeah, it does pay off. It does pay dividends. But you really want to put butts in seats, first of all. I can guarantee you that's
yes,
the
sir.
name of the game.
Yes, sir. Butts and seats, definitely. And the empty arena, those kind of matches, they're not bad, but it's a different feel.
Right.
When you've got a crowd full of people either cheering or booing you. I've had both. I've pissed off fair many people in my day.
Yeah, wrestling fans are fickle.
It, like you said, butts and seats. It makes a big difference for the feel of how the matches go, how everything flows.
Right. I mean, so much has changed in wrestling. Especially I would say in our area. I'm not sure about Georgia and things like that, but I know in our area, a lot of things have went to social media. A lot of the pounding the pavement, putting the posters up in windows. You'll do some of that, but in major places, not like it used to be, because you got social media. You can throw your poster up on social media. All your wrestlers, share it to all their friends, and you should have a decent crowd. So do you have all that set up and geared and ready to go? A lot of actual wrestling shows now have like a social media director and things like that, somebody who will control the social media. Are you looking into stuff like that?
We've got a social media director, and we've got some pretty good ties with the city itself. I know my tag team partner, he's the intimidation coach for the Savannah baseball team, the Savannah Bananas. And
nice. Bananas. I love it. I got to see their logo. I'm going to go check out their logo. Now I got to see the logo.
I'll as soon as we get off of here, I'll shoot it to you in a message. But
okay.
I'm
a huge baseball fan, so I got to see the logo.
They're a pretty solid team. They actually had a kind of starter versus backup game the other day, and I said, all right, we're gonna have a good little 2-minute or 2-hour time limit. If you could score 7 runs in 1 inning, congratulations, you've won the game. It was a lot of wild rules, but
nice.
We're working pretty closely with them, and we're.
Go ahead. Yes. Hey, go ahead, man. I didn't mean. I thought you were done. Go ahead.
You're good. But we're going to be out and about pounding the pavement too. A lot of these local restaurants, a lot of these local bars where a lot of people like to go. I know there's an amazing pizza joint out there, Vinny Van Gogo's, and they usually stay packed. City Market, town squares.
That's the one good thing about being in a big city, man, because I'm pretty sure there's some strip malls and there's some malls that you can hang the posters up. There's probably, large stores and things like that. If they allow you to hang it up, some might charge you a little bit to do it or whatever, but it's worth it. Being in a larger city like that or a larger town, the world is your oyster right there. If you actually go out and pound the pavement, if you don't do the work and at least draw 300-400 people, something ain't right being in a large town like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. I most certainly agree with that. And I know between the group of guys that we've got so far, I definitely feel, between us and Hellfire Radio, because they've got a pretty stout little following, and the Savannah Bananas and, just local businesses in general, I think we'll have a pretty stout crowd, every every go around.
Without a doubt. Do you have a place, a social media place where wrestlers can go? Like you said you're taking in interviews and things like that. Maybe somebody watches the show here and likes what they hear. Maybe they want to talk to you. Is there a place where they can go and get into a conversation with you?
Yes, sir. We've got our Facebook page, Coastal Empire Wrestling. We've got our Instagram, Coastal Empire Wrestling. Or you can, message me personally. I know my Facebook's always open and welcome to whoever.
Right.
But we're getting pretty excited. And once we finally, run the first show and kind of get everything going and off the ground, we're gonna more or less turn the business aspect over. Hey, you're gonna be our business, our general manager, so to speak.
Right. That was going to be my next question, because you being an owner of the company and you also being a wrestler, are you going to be involved in the company? Because a lot of people frown on that. A lot of people frown, especially if you and your tag team partner are the tag team champs. They're going to look and go, well, here's another guy running a company, and here he is with the tag team belt. You know what I'm saying? So how are you going to
No, we're not going to be involved in that aspect of it. It's essentially our baby, but we're gonna let it learn to walk and crawl on its own.
There you go. But are you going to be involved in some of that, though? I mean, there's nothing wrong with you guys wrestling in your own company, but there's a few, that, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing either, but there are a few people out there who run companies and the owners are holding the belts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I definitely understand that. That's actually, I've run into that a few times, and it kind of leaves a sour taste in your mouth. And the way, essentially what we would be doing, we would, hey, if talent wants to reach out, this is a way to reach out to us personally.
Right.
We're open to talks to a lot of folks, and we're wanting to put out a very, very good product. It's been a dream of mine for many, many years. And, a little over 2 years in the business, I never thought I'd be at this point.
What?
I think it blanked out. All right, but I'll continue. Oh,
For some reason, I lost connection to my camera. Go ahead.
I was a little confused for a second, but
I don't know what happened. Maybe the cat pulled my camera cord out. I don't know what happened, but keep going, sir. Keep going. At least you can hear my voice.
Yes, sir. Well, we've wrestled all over. I know my tag team partner, he's got roots out in Texas, and we're starting to travel more. And that's more or less one of the reasons why we're going to kind of hand it over to somebody else, because you can't get better as a performer wrestling at the same place,
right,
week in and week out, versus the same people week in and week out. So we're definitely going to travel. I know we're looking at Arkansas, a little bit of New Jersey, kind of just going all over wherever we can, because
Now, I do have a question, because a lot of new companies nowadays, not only are they running a company, but they're also running like a training where if you come in, you're new, you're green, they'll kind of take you under their wing if they like you. If you got that, it factor, the work factor. Are you guys going to prepare for something like that? Or are you just going to make sure, by, like you said, interviewing the wrestler and looking at, video feeds or whatever they have? Are you just going to bring in veterans?
We're going that'll be a little bit down the line. But I know we're very open to the idea. We spoke about it a few times, and I feel like, especially in the city of Savannah, South Carolina, that area, a lot of folks, I know of several people who have driven from South Carolina out to Statesboro to go train. Some would drive from Brunswick, and Savannah's a nice in the middle. It saves
Right.
you 3 hours of driving, there and back a week, two
Without
or
a
three
doubt.
times a week.
Plus, you're talking about bringing in this talent, so that's going to be a good thing. Plus, it's going to be new guys, right? You're saying you're bringing in a bunch of new guys that have never wrestled each other before, so it's something fresh on top of not only being local to the area.
Yes, sir. A lot of the connecting factor between a good chunk of these people, it's going to be either me or my partner have wrestled with or against them.
Right.
And I know good old Bryce Cannon is already trying every single person who gets announced on the roster, and he's got his work cut out for him with some of them.
There you go. See, I like that. I like that in a wrestler when somebody announces, "Hey, I want to come to this company to wrestle," and you get a guy that pops right in underneath them on social media and goes, "Hey, I'm game. I'm your Huckleberry. Let's do this."
Yes, sir.
That gets me invested as a fan, because then I'm like, okay, this guy's ready to go. And those are the kind of, I call them spitfires. They're just ready to go at a moment's notice. Hey, promoter, hire me. I'll fight anybody. Put me in front of anybody, as long as they know how to wrestle. Now, I'm not talking about somebody who just came out of wrestling school or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Somebody who's got at least a couple of matches under the belt.
Yeah, a couple of matches under their belt. They just getting out there and they're like saying, "Hey, bring it on. I'll wrestle anybody." I love that. So let's get to some of these, man. I'm way behind on comments, so let's get to some of these. Robert Veen said, "Good evening, gentlemen."
It's a familiar face to me, old Robert Veen.
Oh, yeah. He's got some things to say on here, too. He said, social media has become the second biggest promotional tool for the business. I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Only behind word of mouth. Word of mouth is always going to be number one. It's always going to be number one with a bullet, no matter who you are in any wrestling. Skitsy said, "Hey, big guy." I'm pretty sure you know Skitsy.
Yes, sir. He's actually the manager of my tag team.
Well, there you go. See? I learned something new today. Veen said, "CWE's biggest draw will be when I become their heavyweight shampoo." I believe that's champion, but
he's got the California education. He can't. There he goes. He corrected himself.
Ashanti said, "Sweet Melissa's is better." I think she was when you were talking about the restaurants and all that or something. I think that's when she put that in
with
there.
Savannah. Savannah's got some good food out there.
We were talking about, people having their own belts in their own company. He said doing the Kevin Nash worker, booking themselves as the champion. Yeah,
the Nash, exactly the Hogan. I've seen it several times.
And then when I lost contact with you there for a second, he was like, "That's the scariest thing ever. Scratch full screen." when you went up to full screen when I took myself out for a second. Here, we'll make it.
Oh, Rob, I'm gonna see you again here shortly.
Chris Anderson said, "Hey."
Hey, Chris.
He said he's a podcaster. Hey, way to go, Chris. Get with me, man. Maybe we'll do something together sometime if you're interested. Let me be honest, everyone knows I am the measuring stick, the standard bearer of CWE. Wow, Veen's got some big time things to say.
He does. Well, we'll see here shortly.
So have you gotten in the ring with Mr. Robert?
I have several times. We've I'd say we're more or less at a tie at this point. I know tag team wise, we've got a rubber match we need to go through. And
okay.
A couple other things. So I'm definitely excited. I know I'm gonna be seeing him GIPW in Macon on, I believe it's the 19th.
Right. Well, just be careful. He's part of a faction now, isn't he? I can't remember.
Yes,
what's
sir,
the name of
the Transcendent.
The Transcendent. That's it. I've got a picture. I got a picture of him somewhere in one of my folders that he sent me a while back. I even interviewed Robert on the show last year, I believe. So
okay.
Yeah, I know a little bit about Robert myself. So
he's a hoss. I'll give him that.
Yeah. Your manager said it's CEW. he looks scary, man. What is the deal with the way he looks, man? I mean, you guys come out. Explain your gimmick. Explain your tag team gimmick, because that is pretty cool, man.
Well, I know I'm it's
You sort of got. I have to say this, man. You sort of the way your character looks, the way in the promo pic that I put up, sort of reminds me a little bit of Demolition. Just
a little
look.
bit. Somebody's told me it looks like Mad Max and Darth Maul had a baby at one point, but more
I can see that. I can see that.
it's more I'm your savior and you don't have a choice.
There you go. I like it.
And you know, with Voodoo Jack, he's a hell of a luchador, and he's got some wild things from back in his day. A few voodoo dolls.
He's a pretty big guy too, isn't he? I mean, from seeing his picture, net, he's a pretty big guy to be a luchador.
He's very as folks call him nowadays. He's a thick boy.
Okay, I got you.
But he between the three of us, it's kind of like a 3-ring circus, more or less. You know, we've got Skitsy is the clown manager, and he's definitely different in and of his own.
I just by looking at the picture, he's got me interested in coming to see you guys as a unit. I mean, just seeing that, I was like, oh my gosh, that's your manager? He comes out like that?
Yes, sir. I know he and I both do a show on Hellfire on Sundays at 10 o'clock in the evening. And
go ahead, man. Go ahead. Give the whole spill, man. I'm going to give you the time right now. Give the whole spill on your show, because I want people to know about this, because I watched one of your shows the other day, and it was awesome. I loved it. So go ahead and give everybody all the information on when and where and how to watch it.
Well, I know on Thursday nights it's Ring Talk with the Savior. I've got my own little podcast. You know, we kind of run a weekly recap of what happened so far that week from Monday to Thursday. We are fleshing out our roster pretty well. You know, we're interviewing guys, getting a lot of fan interest. I know, like I was saying, Bryce Cannon, he's always in the feeds. You know, hey, I want the smoke. I want this guy. I want that guy. And it's stayed pretty steady. And like I said, on Sundays, I'm out there at 10 o'clock with Skitsy. And it's more of a relaxed show. We kind of have a few drinks. We talk a little bit, you know. And it can get a little bit wild at times. I want to say we've got a game of beer pong with some wrestling related consequences that's coming up.
Oh boy.
It'll be all right. Cups will be numbered 1 through 10. We'll have a list of rules to the side. Say I hit cup number 3, we flip over to the rule. 2 chops.
Oh,
might be
wow.
a chop, might be a kendo stick shot, might be a body slam. We don't know what it's going to be. That's going to be decided by my tag team partner.
So let me ask you this. You said you got oh my gosh, there's some people coming on. There's some pictures. Oh my goodness. I'll get to those in a second. But you was talking about the beer pong and everything, and your first show's coming up, and you got, you know, your rosters coming together. Do you have a specific set of people who are? I'm a big thing on give me something to invest in. You already know that. So do you have writers that are going to be writing your shows, or, you know, doing things like that, or are you going to do it on a show-to-show basis? Do you have a staff large enough to sit down, or are you guys going to be doing it?
We've got a staff worked out, you know, and we're
Okay.
keeping in touch with them daily, kind of getting everything sussed out and straightened up, making sure everything's going to run smooth. I feel like it's going to be a fairly big deal for Savannah. You know, like I said, a lot of the things they do is you can go watch live music, or you can kind of bar hop, or you can eat food and go to bed, but it'll be a little bit different.
Well, I definitely want to extend the hand out and say when you guys get your first poster ready and you're ready to take fans in, be sure to send me a poster. I would love to put it on my personal page and rock it out there and get you guys. Hopefully some people will travel from down here because I know I will. If it's as good as you're saying it is, I would love to come down there, man. I would love, like I said, my wife is all into, taking trips where there's, ghosts and history and I get wrestling on top of it. I mean, hey, that's a win-win-win for me. You know what I'm saying? That's a full
that's some sure enough good food.
I might even get a couple of nights at a hotel room with my wife over that. That's pretty cool, man.
Yes, sir. And I mean, like I was saying, Savannah's a city full of history, and it's one of the most haunted cities in the United States at this point.
Right. Right.
It's going to be exciting.
Right, without a doubt. Robert said, "Schizo, it is whatever I call it." James Keeper, how you doing? Welcome to Hashtag Truth. Robert Bean says, "It is as if the Rockers had Scary Sherry as their manager. Skitsy would be Sherry, Voodoo would be Michaels, and Scratch would be Janetti." Oh, it gets better. Wait till it gets further down here. Shannon, put it up there. There you go. That's how you get the Hellfire Radio 666. So you guys, all you got to do is copy and paste, and there you go. Jezebel Clownski, a few drinks.
That's Mr. Skitsy's partner in crime.
That I'm definitely intrigued now. Bryce said, "Scratch it, trash." Uh-oh.
You know what, Bryce? I am gonna have some words with you come July 19th.
Uh-oh.
Trust me.
Scratch Janetti will always be the best. At least they're having fun with it. That could be Scratch's campaign motto. Scratch is trash 2020. Uh-oh. They're giving you the
too, Bryce.
Now, man. Oh, there you go. Ashanti said, yes, Savannah needs wrestling. Well, you're about to get it. You're about to get it in Groves.
Yes, without a doubt.
Jezebel said, I'm Skitsy's better half. Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot.
But I do know with some of the gentlemen we've talked to, and we're going to kind of release the roster more and more, flesh it out a little bit up to the first show. And
so are you? This is my big question that I'm going to ask because I'm big on this. I always have been. Everybody knows that. Once you set a date, once you get a poster out, are you gonna start asking your wrestlers to throw some promos out there when they know who they're wrestling? Because that's what I look for. I look for a good promo. I look for a good storyline.
I know one match and he's already got me very interested in seeing it, is Bryce Cannon versus the pretty boy Matt Odom.
Oh, nice.
I haven't wrestled Bryce just yet, but that should be coming here shortly. But like I was saying, Matt Odom, he's a solid cat out of Arkansas. I want to say last I spoke to him, he weighed in at about 265, 245, somewhere in that area. He's trying to get the quarantine weight off of him.
Right. No doubt. Hey, I just went to the doctor today and found out I gained 14 pounds since this thing started. Horrible, man. Horrible. I look at food and gain 3 pounds. What the heck? But anyway, Shante must have come in late, so I'll ask you one more time. When can we expect your first show?
Tentatively August should be August the 2nd. It'll be on a Sunday out in Savannah.
Bryce said, in all seriousness, I'm excited for CEW. I mean, I am the first contract signee, so therefore I am the number one guy in the company. Now, I'll say one thing about Bryce. He doesn't sell himself short at all.
No, he doesn't. He's going through a little bit of a loss. His favorite frat paddle has finally kicked the bucket. So great. I'm looking to what kind of thing he's gonna, use to give himself a little bit of an edge next time.
I got you. I got you. Mr. Veen said Savannah is such an amazing city. It could be huge. The potential networking, potential capabilities is crazy. The level of tourism is second to none. St. Patrick's Day has said to have almost 1 million people in Savannah during that weekend. Ooh, green all over
Yes,
the
sir.
place, boy. And I'm talking money. I ain't talking about the beer color. I'm talking about the money. Well, I
Oh,
see
yes,
that,
sir.
and I'm thinking, man, that's going to be a huge show if you run one on St. Patrick's Day now.
Oh, yes, sir. Because I know a lot of the businesses out there, they'll make their money on St. Patrick's Day weekend, and that pretty much floats them for the rest of the year.
That's sort of like being down there in New Orleans, man, for Mardi Gras,
Mardi
right? It's
Gras,
like
yes,
Mardi
sir.
Gras. I
It'll
heard
it,
that. Robert Veen said number one. That sounds cute on paper, Bryce. Uh-oh. I can see Mr. Veen and Mr. Bryce going at it pretty soon, too.
Oh, yes, sir. That'd be another one I'd be very interested to see. Which Robert, he ain't no slouch. He's a solid worker. He's a solid fella. Want to
Right.
say he's a good, probably a good 4 or 5 inches taller than I am. So
Right.
he's a solid fella.
I want to ask you this question because a buddy of mine who's a podcaster asked this a couple of times, and the question always sticks with me. So I like asking every wrestler that comes on the show. Explain to me a day in wrestling for you. When you wake up in the morning all the way to showtime, explain how you prepare for a wrestling day.
Wake up, kind of jump out of bed, more or less, kind of like a kid on Christmas, excited as all get out. You know, hey, about to go a couple hours, go break the curtain, and make sure double check everything. Get it in the car. Me and Voodoo normally kind of ride together. Tag team partners travel together.
Right.
Hop in the car, listen to some music, talk some strategy. We get to the venue. Normally, if they need help setting the ring up, I've always been a firm believer. If you know exactly what spots and where on that ring is going to either hurt you the most or help you the most, that is a big factor in any match.
And you're not going to know that unless you put the ring together, or at least you get in the ring before the match and run around a little bit. But it's better to see it put together, right?
Exactly. Yes, sir. And, get a feel for the venue. Some places got low ceilings. You're not going to try to do a diving headbutt off the top rope if your head's scraping the top when you're up there.
Well, not only that, a lot of venues, and I use this kind of loosely. I'm not saying even if it's not videotaped, you still got to know where the action is, the hard camera side. There's always a hard camera side. There's always a place where the most fans sit, or there might be a bleacher area or something like that. And you want to do most of your action looking toward that or facing that. You know what I'm saying? Especially
Yes,
if it's
sir.
being videotaped or whatever. So, you got to get a feel for that too.
Yes, sir, without a doubt. And that's one thing I've seen, working hard cam and things like that. That's one thing I've seen a lot of younger talent and talent who's never really worked in front of a camera before. They struggle to get that portion of it down pat. I know wrestling.
It's kind of bad when you win a title as a green guy and you get up and you're holding the title up and your back is to the hard cam.
Exactly.
That's just embarrassing as all get out, man. Once you get back to the back and they're like, "Hey, dude, nobody saw that belt. You were showing it to the wrong side."
They saw the back side of it, but that's about it.
Right. Exactly. Wow, there's a lot of people talking over here. Tyler Rivera said Bryce Cannon sucks. There's another guy who wants a piece of Bryce. Bryce is still going all over Veen. Veen is a has-been from Cali. No worries here. Wow, they're really going at it. A has-been from Cali is still better than someone in their prime from the South. Wow. Bryce says, I feel attacked. This is going back and forth.
A good laugh looking at them go back and forth, which
right.
It's always fun to see
has a question for you. Here we go. We're going to break the monotony a little bit. He said, maybe I missed it, but who inspired you into wrestling?
I started off watching Randy Savage. That was a big inspiration. He was larger than life all the way around.
Right.
Personal favorite, been that way for about 20 years, has been Edge. He
Oh,
solid as a tag team, solid as a singles. Never
did you
really
see
got
the match that he had just had with Randy Orton?
at Backlash. It was a hell of a match.
Yeah, it's too bad he hurt his shoulder in that, man. Had to have shoulder surgery, but that
yes,
was
sir.
darn good match.
I think he's going to use it the best to his advantage. Take the time off, kind of shake a little bit more of that ring rust off, get back in the game a little bit harder.
Right.
But I know
I ain't gonna lie to
back.
you. During that match, when they were doing all the everybody else's finishing moves, I was popping, dude. I was popping.
I was all kind of. I was watching it with Skitsy, and he was, oh man, what are they doing now? What's going on? Da da da. And I'm like, man,
right? That's
stuff.
crazy. When Randy, not Randy, when Edge almost put the sharpshooter on him, I almost lost it. He started to spin him into the sharpshooter, and he kicked out of it before he did it. But if he'd have got him in that sharpshooter, I would have popped big time. Because Bret the Hitman Hart is my favorite wrestler of all time. I named my son after him, so that should tell you. His name is Bret. So that I would have popped, but he did. He tried to step over, and then he did a reversal. But oh man, I was ready to pop on that. But and if they would have done the rock bottom, which they didn't do, but that would have been pretty cute to see one of them do the rock bottom. That they did. Yep. The other one he had not rock bottom, people's elbow. I'm sorry, they did the rock bottom.
Yep.
I was talking about the people's elbow. If they would have done the people's elbow, I would have really popped, because that would have been cute to watch in there. One of them two doing that move.
Which I was shocked when Orton busted out the pedigree.
Right.
That
one
caught me way off guard.
For that. He had to ask permission before he did that.
Oh yeah.
Hey boss, can I do this? It had to come. Tyler Rivera said, I low-key love Bryce Cannon, but I didn't say that. Okay, well, if you didn't say it, I won't put it up on the screen then. I think your keypad auto-corrected. Loath. Oh, Robert, you're awesome. Fun fact, the frat party, Bryce Cannon and Eddie Honcho are the first team to win tag team gold in Georgia post-quarantine at SVW. Wow, there you go.
He does have a point.
Yes, very much so. If Scratch named his firstborn after his favorite wrestler, it would be Robert Cannon Savior.
Not quite.
That's good. Well, I've got to ask. Usually this is like my second question of the show, but we've had so much fun talking about, the up and coming company you're going to have that I haven't gotten to it. You said you watched Randy Savage growing up in that. What would be your dream match to have yourself? Who would be that dream person, whether it be Indies guy or a WWE, AEW, Ring of Honor, whoever? Who would be that dream match for you?
I've got two, and one's more of a funny match, but Orange Cassidy, he's started to have a little bit more of an aggressive streak, and I'm loving it, honestly.
Right.
It's different. I think him working Jericho right now is probably the biggest push he's had so far.
Oh yeah.
And,
oh yeah.
But if I have to say overall, I would have loved a match with Benoit. The aggression that man had, the technical prowess, and it just he caught my attention, and he kept my attention from the minute he came into the WWE.
Or his best friend Eddie Guerrero, maybe, because that man could wrestle too.
Guerrero's another good one.
Eddie turned a lot of heads, man. I'm telling you, he had it all, man. He had all the styles. I mean, you could tell he had been around the world and picked up a lot of things. I mean, he could do luchador stuff. He could do technical wrestling. He could do, he had it all. He had the it factor, as everybody likes to say. And it was just too bad his career was cut short the health problems he had and everything else that was going on. But yeah, he was one of my favorites also. He was just legit.
I know Eddie. He was actually the first live show I ever got to go see. He was the main event. It was him, Chavo, and Cena versus JBL and the Bashams. And
that had
watching
to be a match.
Guerrero go was
Right.
amazing.
That frog splash, man, I can still see it as if it happened, yesterday. Every time he did that frog splash, it was so pretty. So pretty.
Yes, sir. I would say he had the crispest one, but height-wise, I would still give it to Van Dam. Van Dam went.
Oh, yeah. Rob Van Dam just went all out. Rob Van Dam was crazy with his body. I would not put my body through what Rob Van Dam. He's one of them guys that legit, like some others, man. I'm surprised he hasn't broken every bone in his body, some of the stuff that he's done.
Yes, sir.
Bryce Cannon said, I just spit my White Claw out. I don't know what the White Claw is, but you'll have to explain that to me. Robert Veen said, only because Transcendent had other business and couldn't take that booking, Bryce. Okay, so Robert Veen and Bryce Cannon, see, they want it. They want it. Who are you taking, Scratch, Benoit or Eddie? Uh-oh, there you go. There's the big question. Which one would you take in a match? I think you said Benoit, right?
I would take Benoit. Just because the aggressiveness he had in ring, right. He was kind of like a dog. Once he bit, he wasn't turning loose.
Right. Exactly. Robert Veen said, Eddie is someone that is hard not to put on my personal Mount Rushmore of wrestling. So there's a good question. 4 wrestlers. Who is your Mount Rushmore of wrestling, Savior? That's a good question.
Without a doubt, you've got to have Flair.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's number 1. Number 2, I'd put Jericho. He's essentially been the man of 1,000 faces when it comes to wrestling.
Yes.
Eddie. And I'd put this last spot's a hard one.
If you don't put the man that I think you're going to put on there, I'm going to be disappointed. You've only mentioned him like 6 times during this interview.
If I could add a 5th, I would put Benoit and Savage.
Yeah, okay. If you didn't put Savage up there in some way, shape, or form, I'd be upset because you talked about him through this whole interview, man.
Yes, sir. With Savage, he was
Mount Rushmore.
He was just an amazing talent through WWF and WCW.
Oh yeah.
I usually when I'm getting ready on a show day, I'll pop some of his matches on the TV, kind of watch a little bit, see his crowd interaction, and people just ate him up.
Oh yeah. He definitely knew how to get the crowd involved. He knew how to read a crowd too.
Yes.
He was one of them wrestlers. He was like Flair. Flair was a big guy who he didn't like, if a wrestler came up and said, okay, I want to do this. Flair just looked at him and went, dude, I'm calling it in the ring. Because there wasn't many people that had years over Flair, once he got to a certain point in wrestling. And he said on one of his interviews here recently that I believe it was on the Stone Cold podcast. He said that he didn't like people to come up there and say, "Hey, I want to do this." You could walk up to him and say, "Hey, I'd like to get this spot in." If it's a move that you like to do. But he called the matches. He read the crowd, and it could be a 2-minute match. It could be a 30-minute match. It just depended on the crowd, and he was very good at it. Very good at it.
That's a lost art that I feel is starting to come back with the independents,
Yes.
Because a lot of the bigger companies, if there's, thousands of people, you're not going to be able to work them as much on a personal level as you can, the crowds who are right in front of you. They're right within spitting distance of you, more or less.
Well, I'm going to give a story out of you right here because Bryce Cannon asked a question, and I'm very intrigued to know the answer to this one. He said, Scratch, will you ever attempt to flip in the ring during your entrance again?
Nope. I'm going to leave the lucha business to my esteemed tag team partner.
So let me guess, you tried to do a flip during your entrance and failed miserably, right?
Yeah, and it was a match against old Robert Bean, and
Okay.
I was trying to pay a little bit of homage to my tag partner, and I found out I'm a little too heavy for it.
There you go. There you go.
So I'm gonna play to my strengths.
Robert Veen's Mount Rushmore is Flair, I can say it. I can speak English, really. I can. Flair, Michaels, Taker, and Jericho is his personal Mount Rushmore. That's not a bad one either.
No,
the one thing about Mount
lineup.
Rushmore with just 4 wrestlers, there was a ton of great wrestlers. I mean, that Mount Rushmore could change, 10 times, and it still would be a good Mount Rushmore. I'm just saying, that's a personal preference when it comes to the best. Now, I'm pretty sure Flair will be on almost everybody's. If he's not, something ain't right with that person. But, Mount Rushmore is very hard to do. We do a top 10 thing on another show that I do with my partner, I Am Righteous, and we always talk about, when it comes to wrestling things, like we did like best entrance music. We do a top 10, but we could easily do a top 20 or 30 with a lot of those lists because there's so many great ones. It's hard to do. And the way wrestling is right now, and nothing about your company, nothing bad saying about your company, but there seems to be wrestling companies popping up all over the place, which means that's a good thing for me because it gives a lot more fans, they can get to a wrestling show easier, and that's great. You know what I'm saying? And
well, I mean, and it gives a lot of these promotions, much like our own. We're looking into cross promoting with other people. Who's to say one of the greatest wasted angles of all time was the invasion angle.
Oh my gosh, I love that angle. So good. You're talking about the WCW one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and that didn't even start off. And that didn't even start off as that being the angle. They just brought him in, and the crowd just chanted and started talking like, oh my God, they're invading. And that's how they got the idea. They had no clue that that's the way the audience would look at it when Scott Hall started coming through the crowd that night. In interviews, when interviewing Bischoff, he said he didn't know that that's the way the crowd was going to take it. They knew that they were stealing a talent from WWE, but yeah, that's the way they took, and they ran with it. And when NWO started, oh my gosh, that thing exploded. I remember that was one of my favorite times in wrestling.
Well, no, it's still, I want to say, one of the, it's either the Austin 316 shirt or the NWO shirt that's still the top selling, piece of merchandise in wrestling, to this day.
Right. And I believe NWO would still be going strong today in the WWE, and everybody says it, if they wouldn't have went off into so many. If everybody in WCW wasn't a part of NWO at one time, that would have been one of the greatest factions. That would have been up there with the Four Horsemen. I truly believe that.
Oh, without a doubt.
They would have just kept it, Hulk Hogan, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and maybe one other guy. It would have been brilliant, but it started getting stupid toward the end with the red NWO, the white NWO, the Wolf Pack, and this and that. I quit watching it after a while, and then Sting went up into the rafters, and that was pretty cool. That was kind of different when he did the Scarecrow thing. I kind of like that, but it was just too much. Everybody was a part of the NWO at one point, and it just got stupid. Ashanti wants to know if there's an instant replay of you doing your flip.
somewhere out there.
I'm pretty sure if you get a hold of Veen, I'm pretty sure he's got it in his archives somewhere.
Oh, I know he does. I know. Which he
Oh, here we go. See, what did I tell you? Here's the link for the match to the flip botch. There it is right there. You can go straight to YouTube.
Quickly had it up.
Not going
Appreciate
right
you,
after
Bobbert.
the show. Oh, turnaround's fair play, Robert Veen. I'm going to have you back on the show, and I'm pretty sure Scratch will have something to put up there for you, man. I'm pretty sure he'll find something.
Oh, without a doubt.
Robert Veen said the invasion angle was great, but the talent that was allowed to come in was like WCW's B team. Yes, I agree with that also. A lot. That was pretty cool.
You know, it was more of a money talks kind of thing. A lot of them, you know, one of the names synonymous with WCW, you know, your Nashes, your Halls, your Hogans, your Goldbergs, a lot of those bigger time names. They just said, well, I'm going to get paid more to sit at the house, work out.
DDP became really famous as part of that company. And he came into the wrestling game late. So that gives hope to some of these guys who are, you know, not like me, who's 49 and way overweight, but, you know, a 30-something guy, if he goes out there, you know, early 30s and works hard and really wants to get into the business, if DDP can do it, anybody can. I'm just saying, you got to put the work in, though. You've got to put the work in.
You know, it's a lot of hard work. I know just Sunday, me, tag team partner, and a couple other folks, we threw the ring up, blistering South Georgia heat, and we spent a good 5-6 hours just training.
But you know what? When you're running the ropes in 100-degree, you know, when the you know, heat factor is 100 degrees, it might be 80, 90, but the heat factor is in the hundreds. You go out there and you run the ropes in that, and then you get into a regular environment, you're not going to be, you know, you're going to be able to do a 30-minute match without a problem. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't look at it that way.
That's part of the reason why I kind of enjoy the trainings at the Voodoo Hut, or Casa de Voodoo. You know, it's
Casa de Voodoo. I like that. That's cool.
But it's definitely different, and it kind of forces your body to adjust. So once you hit that different kind of climate, you know, you're not in the 100 some odd degree weather outside in the blistering heat getting drained.
Right.
It's wow, I'm in this nice air conditioned place.
Right.
I'm not going to get overheated near as fast.
Right. I mean, your body gets used to working harder. I mean, that's why I always hear when people are being trained, when they first come in, that these trainers, I mean, if they're legit trainers, they'll put you through a vigorous running the ropes for like 45 minutes to an hour. They'll make you puke before they quit running.
You'll wound up bruised and damn near blistered from running ropes.
Right. And it, oh my gosh, we got somebody coming on just screaming your name. Brian Moose Donlin said, Savior.
Hey, old Moose.
He said he's here.
He tried to miss out on a Sunday. I know he hadn't caught me on a Thursday yet. He said nothing important happens on a Thursday, but here this week he'll learn.
There you go, without a doubt. Robert Veen said Transcendent does not botch. Oof. We'll have to see about that.
I mean, the name choice was kind of the first one.
Bryce said gives hope to guys like Scratch, Voodoo, and Veen. There you go. Wow. Again, he thinks a lot of himself.
He does. Which, you know, I've seen him go, and Bryce can definitely go, but he hasn't faced me and my tag team partner just yet. So it'll be a surprise for him.
All right, so we've been up here for almost an hour and 15 minutes, brother. We're gonna have to shut her down. I want you to look into the camera right there in front of you and tell us, again, give us all the information on the up-and-coming company. Give us the information on where the wrestlers can get in contact with you if they're interested in wrestling for you. Give them all the details, man. The next few minutes is yours.
All righty. Yes, sir. Well, like Mr. Larson was saying, Coastal Empire Wrestling, we're going to be based, you know, out of Savannah. Big city, big opportunities for a lot of guys. You can get in contact with me on my Facebook. I want to say I'm tagged in in this post, which if you want to get a hold of me through there. Coastal Empire Wrestling on Facebook, Coastal Empire Wrestling on Instagram. Here shortly, we're going to have our main website up and running. But, you know, we're going to be very responsive, you know. Tell us who you are.
After this is over, go ahead and save it. Go ahead and share this to whatever places you want the information to be at, and it'll be on every one of them.
Yes, sir. So, but
that'd be a great way to do it. Well, guys, man, we are going to get out of here. Scratch Kory Savior, man. It has been nice to sit here and talk to you about your career, about your upcoming company that CEW, correct?
Yes, sir.
There you go. So it's coming. It's going to be in Savannah, Georgia. You don't want to miss out on that. Please send me a poster when you get that first show ready to go. I'm kind of curious to see what the name is because you kind of smirked. You already know the name. I know you do. So I want to see what it. I want to see what it is, and I really want to help you promote that show. And these guys also, I'm going to promote this every time I come on my show. These guys also have indie cards. So check out their Facebook page. Check out Scratch Kory Savior's page. I'm pretty sure he's got it posted up on there. Him and his tag team partner both. So check them out and see if you can get some cards from them. And you're going to see great wrestlers like Robert Veen, Bryce Cannon, and everybody else out there at CEW. And that is the #Truth. We'll see you guys tomorrow night.